You are listening to the ReRACEables Podcast.
Give you a nice little detour.
Welcome back to the ReRACEables Podcast. We are here. Episode 1 of Season 37 is in the books. So I think we have to begin with the fork in the road. We've never seen this before. It's the first time they've ever done it. It's basically a detour that turns into a 7-team race where we're going to have a double elimination. We had sing and dance. For me, it seemed like the fork in the road was a success. We had a little bit of drama. We had strategy of which ones to choose, which one not to choose, reasons for that, but where do you want to start?
I would agree with you, Tom. I think that if this episode was a single elimination, by the time we got 10 minutes in, we knew Jackye and Lauren were going to leave.
Right.
There was really no reason to watch at that point. It made the whole episode entertaining. Because even if you were like, well, one team's out, who's the second team out? And that was exciting for me. I thought that episode had really great arcs, and I thought that it actually kept up with pace, and I thought it was exciting, and I actually really liked the fork in the road.
I disagree.
Really?
I didn't like it because it did Mark and Larry dirty. They shouldn't have gone home.
Dirty.
Right.
It wasn't fair. Melinda and Erica, they lucked out. It should have been them.
Wow.
They were the second to last on the mat.
Right, so just to clarify, Mark and Larry, they finished 7th in theirs, but only 2 teams had finished the same fork in the road at that point.
Had they made the 2 choices more even, I think it would have been a different story. I don't think it was fair that for dance, all they had to do was dance. For sing, they had to sing and dance.
What does it matter though? Once you go once you go in that category of 7, then you're competing against the others. You're not actually competing against the other team to get back to that center. Like if it's harder or less hard, it doesn't really matter. You're still isolated within your group.
But if you look at it from if they had the choice and this was a detour, we would be having the conversation, which was the better choice.
If it was a detour.
But it wasn't, right?
I just think Mark and Larry were gone too soon.
Oh.
I would have loved to have seen more of them.
All right.
I think they seemed fun.
I think they were authentically themselves, which was old retired firefighters. I believe they did call themselves rednecks.
They did.
They called
rednecks?
themselves broke. They
Yep.
called themselves dumb. They were there for the gratitude of it, and that was their parting words. 2 guys like that don't go to Hong Kong.
No.
Those guys were successful, even though they were.
Well, you can't ride your motorcycle to Hong Kong, so.
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, Josh. I think that the fork in the road was great. It kept that suspense. You had 2 different narratives going on at once. And even if the one finished beforehand and then we knew Jackye and Lauren were going home,
Yeah.
it was all right.
Yeah.
But that's also because Jackye and Lauren were good spirits. They were an emotional roller coaster, despite their less than stellar performance throughout the leg. But I thought it really worked, and it created some drama. It created the uncertainty. And most of all, I think is what we were most interested in was like the strategy element. Because when they got there, Nick and Mike were first. They chose dance. Carson and Jack, they chose dance. And then Alyssa and Josiah said, well, why would we choose dance if 2 other teams are already doing dance? Let's be the first to do sing. And look, it literally added up to them being a first place team because they probably had that much more time at the sing. And they got a first place, and they avoided making a stupid strategic mistake at the fork in the road. Because I think that's what, they're kind of setting us up for, hey, there's going to be some more decisions like this. Season of surprises. So this seemed like a good entry point for all of that.
Yes. Two, can I bring up graphics? I really loved the graphics. I really loved being able to see the route, being able to see which teams chose which task, in which order. I thought it was really nice to have like a treasure map to go back to that you could kind of refer to. So I thought that was really great. In years past, we haven't always had that like macro vision. However, what I can offer to the editing team is it would have been helpful, I think, to distinguish by color. So if like sing was yellow and dance was red, you could more easily see the visual path, and you could say, oh, they're on the red path, oh, they're on the yellow path. It was all yellow text, and I think the text got lost. I also think that we found ourselves pausing a few times to see what was going on, and when we paused, the graphics didn't always match up with the storyline of where pieces were. So that continuity would have helped also, but I think we were also people that overanalyze that, and perhaps. What I thought was really nice too is the split screen.
Yep.
Didn't you love that? When they had split screen of each of them competing each task, I thought that was really exciting. Great work.
Right, both the split screen of the dance and the sing simultaneously, what was going on. The little fork in the road graphic at the bottom was good. And then also at the dance, when they were messing up, Nick and Mike or others, they had the example of what they were supposed to be doing, and they were showing us the errors they were making. Now we could actually see what they messed up, and then the next time when they actually got it, see the correction.
Yeah.
Right, so we have Mark and Larry coming last from the dance section, but then Jackye and Lauren finished last from the sing section. Why did Jackye and Lauren lose? Why did Jackye and Lauren lose?
Steps. What? Oh, poor. Oh.
It was just dead on arrival from the beginning. There's a fear of steps, and they're climbing up steps, and then they missed the one ferry, and they were lagging behind the whole time.
Did they not think that they would come across steps on The Amazing Race?
As the person who put them the highest on my rankings, couple things. My misread was it was a heart, not the head. They played younger in the research. I thought they were going to have more pep in their step and more fearlessness and more zest for everything. But instead, we saw fear in them. And we saw such like emotional reaction. They were running a different race, I think, from the steps on.
Yep.
And then there was the emotional breakdown at the top of the bun tower, are we calling it?
The roadblock challenge.
I don't think she thought she could do it.
No, she definitely didn't think she could do it.
And then she did it, and it was good television.
Yeah, and good job by Lauren. 61 years old.
Yeah.
It's kind of awkward. You're climbing up this bamboo, and you have to put your foot into these little, like, awkward crevices and pull yourself up.
She's well endowed. It's not easy.
But that's what made me, like, root for them, is, like, there was that emotional release after the accomplishment. And I think what we want in The Amazing Race, especially, is we want to see that. You see people overcome these challenges. Their words at the end that they'll treasure this forever. They obviously wanted, at this point in their life, to do something out of the ordinary and extraordinary. And I think they got that.
Before the tombstone.
Right, well, hey, they brought it up.
I know.
Yeah.
Which is why I bring it up. Because that was a ridiculous comment.
Right, that on her tombstone, it's going to say, we competed on The Amazing Race Season 37. I mean, I'd like to, maybe have a little etch on mine that says, competed on The Amazing Race Season 38, 39. All-Stars.
Whoa.
2-time winner.
Whoa. Do you think you were skewed by their social media?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. I was hoodwinked. I got sucked into I like them. I said at the beginning, I like them. They're fun. They're probably a good hang. They have personality.
I knew right by the earrings.
Yeah.
You did?
You sniffed that right out.
Yeah.
Right out.
Gosh, why did I miss it? It's the purple,
Because
too.
you're not a woman.
Yeah, that's true. Let's move on to, I think, the most interesting, controversial team of the episode, Jonathan and Anna.
Well, so they led the race, right? They were the first team by a long shot to get to the Bun Tower.
Right, they made the ferry that
They
nobody
made that
else
first
did.
ferry. Well, I was really keen on the fact that they were in the taxi, and they asked the taxi driver for his phone, and they were looking up the times that the ferry leaves.
Great strategy.
Very smart, yeah. Very, very good gameplay, which we've seen some pretty bad gameplay by other contestants in this episode. But and then they got to the ferry, and the first thing they said is emergency, emergency, have to cut the line. I also thought brilliant, good gameplay.
Great buzzword.
Yeah, they got onto the ferry, nobody else was there, and then they said, yeah, we got on the ferry, and then they didn't embrace each other.
Yeah.
But they were like, we did it, but they didn't at all touch. And then we saw a shot of them standing next to each other on the ferry with like a foot gap in between them.
And then it cut to commercial.
And it just kept feeling like they were happy because they were doing well, and they were happy to be on top. They weren't necessarily happy to be together. As far as communication goes, as far as the race goes, and as far as all of those other extra things, that's the only reason they were in good moods, is because they were on top.
Yep.
And then as soon as everyone else caught up to them, they were pissed. They were so mad. They were not supportive. And then by the end of the episode, we saw Jonathan. He was a little baby standing on the finish line, pissed off.
It's not good enough.
It's not good enough. Not first place. Like, no, Jonathan, what are you doing? Totally unlikable. Totally, in my opinion, absolutely unlikable. I almost even feel bad for Anna, but I think it'll be interesting to watch them even further. But he is toxic, and I'm not a supporter.
Just a sore loser. You would have thought he got 6th place.
Absolutely.
He got 2nd place.
Yeah.
And yet,
Do you think that's a product of the fork in the road?
no, he would have done that regardless, I think.
Yep. And I worry because I think that Anna was like, well, we'll get him next time. We're going to win. We're going to, like, she has that fight. But we know that in this race, it wears you both down.
Yep.
You know, and by 3 or 4 legs in, everybody's like, ooh, this sucks. And you really need to rely on your partner. I don't think that she's going to be able to rely on him. I think that when she starts getting down, he's going to lash out on her.
And it makes perfect sense why she was the one to leave.
Yes. You're so spot on.
To leave.
Their relationship.
Their marriage, yeah. Or their relationship.
So clairvoyant Tom is here now.
Oh, hi.
They're going to face adversity, and it's going to be a spark that ignites into a horrendous blow-up.
They may not be together anymore.
They are.
Oh.
I meant a blow-up on the race. Especially if the next episode, where it's the intersection,
Oh, God.
and they're reliant on somebody else.
It
Like,
won't-
their
It
game
won't be good.
is dependent on another team. It seems like we're headed for maybe like Amber Vinny kind of conversation and dynamic and just a lot of friction there. It's one thing though when you're in the lead and you're front running. It's another when you have a little adversity and people catch up to you. To end each episode, we'd like to cross the finish line with one final point or hot take or perspective. Nicole, go ahead. Start us off. Cross the finish line.
I've noticed a new piece of technology. Backpack ponchos. I'm all in on them. I like them. It must be a problem for people who are in the pouring rain. They've got nowhere to put their backpack but to wear it, and all their stuff gets soaked. Backpack ponchos, a great invention.
When we did our team averages, there is a team that averaged at eighth place between the 2 of us, or the 3 of us, and I actually believe that they are going to be in the top 3 now. And that team is Carson and Jack. I'm going through the list, and I see a lot of, they're not going to make it that far. And Carson and Jack just keep climbing the list. You know, for me, it's like, above them we have Ernest and Bridget. I think Carson and Jack are stronger. Above them we have Han and Holden. I think Carson and Jack are stronger. Scott and Lori. I think Carson and Jack are stronger. You know, Jonathan and Anna. I think Carson and Jack are stronger. Now they're in the top 4. And that is pretty wild to see the read on them, in my opinion, to go from 8th to at least 4th, maybe even the top 3.
I'll close it out with
I think having 14 teams was a positive. 2 or 3 extra teams on this season. Plus, at the end of the day, do we lose anything with those 2 teams? No. We got their story. Sure. They had their episode. They went to Hong Kong, and they both left happy. Our power rankings, we are going to take off the scores for the teams that were eliminated, which puts Josh, our defending champion, in the lead early. Josh had Jackye and Lauren as his 14th team, and he had Mark and Larry as his 13th team. I mean,
how'd you do it?
It's pretty impressive. I mean, I had Mark and Larry 14th. Nicole, you had Jackye and Lauren 13th, but Josh had them both in the 14 and 13.
I'm going to read good, bad teams.
All right, we'll go with that. That does it for this edition of the ReRACEables Podcast. We will be back next week to cover episode 2 for season 37 of The Amazing Race. Also, if you're a Survivor fan, be sure to check out my blog, tribalcouncilblog.com, or follow at tribalcouncilblog, all one word, on Instagram, posting stuff about Survivor 48 and my journey to try to get cast on Survivor and making fires every day. Be sure to check that out, and we'll see you next week right here on the ReRACEables Podcast.